What's up, Ragin Nation? How y'all doing? This is Alex. You watching the Ragin Nation show. This is just a web series where I talk about all the things that matter to me in the world of movies. It's been a while since I did a video update like this, 3 weeks in fact, and now I'm back and there's a lot to talk about, and here's your update for August 12th, 2013. The first thing we got to talk about is Akira. That would be the live-action Akira movie, and Warner Brothers Studios is resurrecting the production. That's right, I said resurrecting because the project was dead. It was in development hell for a very long time because of budgeting issues. It was over budget at $180 million, and they originally wanted to bring it down to $60 to $70 million, but that was absolutely impossible for the director, Jamie Collet-Serra, to exercise his artistic freedoms. So they agreed on $90 million, and finally this project is moving forward, finally. And they're going to start production on it on spring of 2014 and hopefully for a 2015 release. So that's really exciting for me. Akira is a classic, okay? It's a classic anime, and I want to see it get made into a live action movie because it's been in talks for a very, very long time. Now, I believe that you do not need a super-sized, Transformers-sized, budget to make a great movie. All you need is a great story, great characters, and a great script to work with. And as long as they can do that, then the visual effects, that's all secondary, okay? I do understand that an anime movie, like a live-action representation of an anime movie like Akira, requires a big budget for the visual effects because it's a very grand movie, epic in scope, all right? But the first thing they gotta nail down is the story and the characters, okay? So that's the number one thing. All right, moving on. Let's talk about another movie that was inspired by a Japanese anime, and that would be Pacific Rim. But I'm not talking about Pacific Rim 1, I'm talking about Pacific Rim 2. There's a high possibility of Pacific Rim 2 happening. That would be the Pacific Rim sequel, because Pacific Rim, while it didn't do too well in North America, domestically, overseas, over in China, it opened huge. In fact, one of the biggest openings ever, and I think it has a lot to do with the fact that it was presented in IMAX 3D after the success of Avatar. IMAX 3D is a medium that's really widely accepted in China. If you want your movie to sell well in China, have it in 3D, and better yet, have it in IMAX 3D. So Pacific Rim opened huge in China, and because of that, the likelihood of a sequel is a high possibility. Warner Brothers Studio eventually ruled out that, they originally ruled out that they weren't going to make a sequel to it, but after the success of the Chinese release, they're thinking about it. They're reconsidering it. Now, speaking of Avatar sequels are finally getting a release date, okay? Avatar 2 will finally hit theaters in December 2016, 3 years from now. And following that, they're going to have the Avatar 3 and Avatar 4. So that would be a total of 3 sequels, and that would be for 2017 and 2018, which is crazy because it seems like James Cameron has it all planned out for us, and he's developing some new technologies, and we're going to be experiencing a lot of new visuals, okay, and it's going to be a whole new movie experience for us. So he's going to blow our mind once again with the Avatar sequels, all right? So moving on to some other sci-fi movie news. Star Trek 3 is, of course, going to be happening with the success of the first two Star Treks, but we won't be getting J.J. Abrams back as a director. Possibly, we don't know yet, but J.J. Abrams is negotiating to just serve on as a producer only. That means he might not be in the director's chair. Now, with regards to other producing credits coming back, the writing credits, who were Alex Kurtzman and Roberto Orci and Damon Lindelof. 2 out of the 3 guys are coming back. That would be, of course, the writing partners, Orci and Kurtzman, but Damon Lindelof is not coming back. All right. Now, with regards to the director, since J.J. Abrams is possibly producing, the front runner for director is Rupert Wyatt. And Rupert Wyatt, if you don't already know or don't remember, he is the director of the awesome Rise of the Planet of the Apes. So if they got Rupert Wyatt to direct Star Trek 3, I'm down. I'm totally down with that. I think he tells a really good story, a very character-driven story, and I'm down for something new. I'm down for a new vision. But J.J. Abrams does rock, okay? I'd love to see J.J. Abrams back, but I'm still open-minded to Rupert Wyatt. All right, moving on to Expendables news. Expendables news, we got some casting news. And we already know that a lot of the guys are back from the original, but Chuck Norris is out, and also Bruce Willis is out. Bruce Willis is no longer going to be a part of it. I don't know if he's going to be part of Expendable 4 or if that's even happening, but he's definitely not back for Expendables 3. Instead, they got other guys They got Mel Gibson. They got Antonio Banderas. They got Steven Seagal. They got Jackie Chan. They got Mila Jovovich, and they also got Harrison Ford. Okay, so these are some pretty big Hollywood heavyweights, and it's gonna be a pretty fun movie because I've seen the chemistry of these guys in Expendables 1 and Expendables 2, and they're just a lot of fun to watch, and I think that in Expendables 3 they're gonna kick some more ass. Alright, so speaking of Expendables 3, they're actually also casting Ronda Rousey. She's an MMA fighter. Alright, and she's not just going to be in Expendables 3, but also in another movie that would be Fast and Furious 7, because after Gina Carano was like just knocked the F out from Michelle Rodriguez, they wanted to cast another female MMA fighter, and that would present some really cool girl-on-girl like action, alright, because that fight between Michelle Rodriguez and Gina Carano was pretty badass. And James Wan is directing, and he's changing the direction. It's no longer just about like a full-on action movie. He's turning it into a revenge movie, a car chase revenge movie. So I don't know how I feel about that, but once again, I'm always open for a little bit of change as long as the story is good. All right, keep the essence of the films, like of the franchise, but still I'm down with a little bit of changes in the direction. All right, so there you have it. Speaking of Harrison Ford is down for Indiana Jones 5. He will be playing Grandpa Jones. I'm just kidding. He mentioned that he wants to come back for Indiana Jones 5 as long as it is not too physical. So just not too many crazy stunts because he's getting a little bit old for that. But I'm at least glad that he's enthusiastic about being in another Indiana Jones movie. And speaking of Harrison Ford, he's also back for Star Wars Episode 7 along with Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher. But the big rumor right now is who's going to be casted for the main lead, you know, the new cast. All right, and the rumor right now is Zac Efron and Ryan Gosling. So two pretty boys right there, rumored to be casted in Episode 7. So what do you guys think about that? All right, moving on to reboot news. Len Wiseman has dropped out of the Mummy reboot. Okay, The Mummy is being rebooted, and Len Wiseman, director of Underworld, Underworld 2, Live Free and Die Hard, and Total Recall, has dropped out due to scheduling conflicts. And I don't know what's going on with that. Maybe because you know, he was working on something else. I don't know what else he's working on, but I was actually looking forward to Len Wiseman directing a Mummy reboot. Apparently, it's going to be set in modern day, and the writers are, of course, the writers of Star Trek, Alex Kurtzman and Roberto Orci. So, you know, you got a pretty decent team there, but unfortunately, Len Wiseman is not on board anymore. Moving on to more reboot news, Fantastic Four will be shooting in Louisiana instead of Vancouver. My city of Vancouver is no longer going to be hosting the Fantastic Four reboot. They will be shooting in Louisiana in September, so next month, and Josh Trank is directing for a March 6, 2015 release. I'm looking forward to that. Josh Trank did a badass job with Chronicle, and I can't wait to see what he does for Fantastic Four reboot. All right, Mark Webb was at San Diego Comic-Con more than 2 weekends ago, and he was teasing us about The Amazing Spider-Man 2, but he also got some crazy stuff planned for the entire trilogy. That's The Amazing Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3, and Amazing Spider-Man 3 is supposed to come out in a June 10th, 2016 release, and he's supposed to be able to introduce most, if not all, of the Sinister Six. And The Amazing Spider-Man 4 is also happening for a May 4th, 2018 release. And apparently, The Amazing Spider-Man 4 will not just focus on Peter Parker's character. There's going to be more characters in terms of protagonists and antagonists, and they're going to spread it out pretty good. All right, so that's some pretty crazy stuff. Speaking of San Diego Comic-Con, they also announced the official title for The Avengers. I know this is a little late news, but I just want to comment on it. The Avengers Age of Ultron. That's what it's going to be called. It's not The Avengers 2, it's The Age of Ultron. And of course, Ultron's going to be in it. But there's also going to be a huge emphasis on Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. And this is going to be kind of cool, or interesting rather, because, well, as you already know, they're the offspring of Magneto, who is in the X-Men universe, which is owned by 20th Century Fox. So apparently the Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch in the X-Men universe, in the 20th Century Fox properties, is going to be completely different and separate, and it will have nothing to do with each other. So it's going to be interesting how they're going to play that out. And of course, the Avengers Age of Ultron will be for a May 1st, 2015 release, and they will start filming on March 2014. Speaking of which, Avengers producer Kevin Feige mentioned that they have enough Marvel movies to be released all the way up to 2021. Okay, and man, that just kind of blows my mind because I don't even know what the heck they got going on. We got Guardians of the Galaxy, we got Thor, we got Captain America. There's probably going to be another Hulk movie, like a Hulk solo movie. Black Panther, Doctor Strange are in the works. Of course, Avengers 3, Ant-Man. So I think that's just about right. I think that's about enough to keep them busy all the way up till 2021. Maybe there's a couple more character movies that I missed out on, but they haven't announced anything yet, and I'm looking forward to see what they're going to be announcing. But the biggest news that I have for you guys is, of course, something that Zack Snyder talked about at San Diego Comic-Con, which totally rocked the entire convention hall, and that was the big announcement for Man of Steel 2. And that would be the fact that the Dark Knight will be appearing in Man of Steel 2. Man of Steel 2 will not even be called Man of Steel 2. It will be called either Batman vs. Superman or Superman vs. Batman. We don't know yet. They haven't confirmed it yet. But the Bruce Wayne character, and Batman will be appearing in Man of Steel 2. Now, my biggest question was, okay, this is obviously not a Justice League movie. Justice League is going to happen in most likely 2017. But is this a world's finest movie? It's probably not a world's finest movie. This is probably a Batman versus Superman movie, or Superman versus Batman movie. So are they going to really fight each other? Are they going to be against each other? Because the powers are quite unbalanced. Okay, I never read the comics and I never saw how they were able to fight each other. But in the realistic sense, they're kind of unbalanced in terms of their powers. Remember watching I Am Legend? And I Am Legend took place in the future, but if you looked in the billboard in like post-apocalyptic New York, you saw the logo for Batman versus Superman, or World's Finest. It was a teaser, and apparently Warner Brothers was always thinking about that all along. So I'm really excited about that. Now the biggest, the most interesting thing about that is that they want to cast a more older and more mature Bruce Wayne. Okay, and they were looking at who were they looking at? They were looking at Josh Brolin, Joe Manganiello, the guy who played Flash Thompson. Okay, Ryan Gosling, who's still kind of young, and also Orlando Bloom, who is still also kind of young. But I think Orlando Bloom is going to be the front runner. In fact, Orlando Bloom is the front runner. I just rather prefer Josh Brolin. I kind of want to see a more older, more mature take on the Bruce Wayne character, but apparently Orlando Bloom is the front runner. Okay, what do you guys think about that? I'm open to anybody, but Josh Brolin would have been my pick for sure. Anyways, there you have it. That's all I gotta say in this update video. We definitely covered a lot of information, but it's all the information that matters to me. So let me know in the comment section below about any thoughts and opinions about anything that I've talked about, and hope you enjoyed this video. As always, if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like me on Facebook, the Ragin Nation, and also follow me on Twitter at Ragin Nation. My name is Alex Yu. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace. He plays one of the most ruthless villains I've ever seen on screen. And he's really scary and physically able. He does a lot of stunts in this one. So really cool.